Luckily, it was one of these, so it just like fell. And like, another jar.
So much fun.
I'm with you. So, we just resume the meeting and we adjourn it.
Public portion of the meeting.
Our executive session has concluded, and now we will resume our public portion of the meeting, our workshop, so that we may adjourn the workshop. And I will give a 1-minute notice for our 3 o'clock meeting, even though we're going to start probably at 3:01 to get all of our board members back at the table. If any members of the public want to speak, there are cards in the back. Fill them out and give turn it into Kathy Thomas, our assistant. Tompkins. Good afternoon. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you to our school board meeting this Tuesday, May 18th, 2021. As I said, the public is encouraged and welcome to address the board, and if you could fill out those signs. And at the appropriate time, I'll call you to speak. We will start with the Sarasota High JROTC for the presentation of colors. I would like our student representative, Isabella Barcelo, to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Sarasota High JROTC. Today, our student representative, Isabella Barcelo from Sarasota High. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, my name is Isabella Barcelo. I'm a senior at Sarasota High School. I'm a part of the ACE program, National Honor Society, National Science Honor Society, and a board member of student government. On June 4th, 2021, I'll be graduating in the top 10% of my class and will be receiving my ACE diploma a year early. I'm a 4-time varsity athlete for the Sarasota High School swim team and was captain this year, making it to state championships twice and placing top 16 in the 100 butterfly, as well as being on the varsity lacrosse team at Sarasota High School. I will be attending the University of Florida this summer to pursue a degree in clinical psychology with a minor in broadcast journalism. I have hopes to become a sports psychologist after college. I have also held the honor of holding the local pageant title of Miss Sarasota Teen, which has allowed me to work closely with organizations such as Streets of Paradise. I'm so excited to be here, and thank you for having me.
Congratulations, Bella. That's a busy schedule, and good luck to you. Could you tell us a little bit about the Civility Squad character trait for May and how it affects you?
The quote is, "Stay positive. Keep your energy upbeat. It's a surefire way to battle defeat." This year, I actually was a remote learner and still a remote learner due to my sister having some health issues. And so I really feel that this exemplifies like the spirit of the school year with so many challenges with COVID kind of controlling how we're able to learn. And just to remember to keep going because education is something that drives society. And I believe that this quote really exemplifies that.
Well, thank you. We'd like to thank you for serving as our student representative and present you with the Certificate of Appreciation, and best luck to the future. Now we go to special presentations. First this afternoon is the Ripple Effect Awards, and I'd like to invite Dr. Kingsley, Mr. Cantiz, and Mr. Renouf to the podium to begin the presentation and tell us what a Ripple Award is and who's won them.
Good afternoon. Today we're taking the time to recognize a few heroes in our district and in our community, and we're sharing a very special surprise. Let me start with two people from our beautiful community who left their mark. Oh, darn, I'm gonna cry. I was trying not to. Oh gosh, sorry. Who left their mark in a very lasting way in our schools. Without a doubt, like Bella, these past 15 months have been the most challenging and draining in my 40 years in education. And I learned to rely on a few coping strategies, like stay away from negative people who have ill intentions, and focus on admirable, pure, lovely, noble people. Chuck and Margie Branson were those people. Margie was the loveliest person I have ever known. Sorry. Her purity was always evident every time she was thanked. Whenever I expressed gratitude for the many initiatives the Branson Foundation supported for our teachers and children, which amounted to over $6 million worth of initiatives, Margie's response was always the same. She would always say, "Oh, you are the ones who should be thanked. You work so hard to make the good things happen." She said that every single time. And no one spoke or listened to the truth better than Chuck. He always gave you his full attention and asked keen questions, some of them embarrassing, to get to the real issues, with eyes that always twinkled. So Dr. Asplin, I wish so much you could have met these noble and generous people. However, This short video will give you a glimpse of Chuck and Margie. After the video, you'll hear about a very special surprise from Terry Hansen, President and CEO of Branson Foundation, where she leads the small but mighty team of Murray Devine and Jessica Polk and John Annis, there he is, and Kelly Romanoff, who could not be here today. This small but mighty team have continued Chuck and Margie's legacy and changed the world in Sarasota. So the video, and let me see if I can do this. You've already got it up, don't you?
Chuck and Margie were delightfully fun and fiercely passionate about their philanthropy and making a difference in our world. Chuck was an accountant and was hired away by some businessmen from his accounting firm to help them run their companies. He got experience, he saw how it worked, and with their permission went out on his own. And the first company he bought on his own was Just Right Manufacturing in 1965. He called it his cash pump. And from that, then he bought his other companies. He bought them, he held them, he made them successful, and then ultimately later in life sold them. They donated under the radar and were just regular people. Chuck says he got interested in philanthropy by seeing what his kids were doing for other people. And so I think he realized that he could take his success and turn it into significance for himself, for his family, and for the world around him.
I decided that if we focus on the Sarasota area, we could make a difference. Education is paramount. Humanitarian causes are paramount. And then we go to environment, culture, and medical research.
Education is the red thread that goes through all of our areas. Margie was an educator, so that was important to her. We believe education is something you can give to someone and no one can take it away from them.
This book contains the grants from this year and last year, the impact that they've had in Sarasota County schools that is infinite. We calculated over the last 5 years with the Charles and Marjorie Branson Foundation, they have given over $6 million. It was our teachers, our children, our classroom environments, our parents building strength in children before they get to school, those first 1,000 days.
Anybody, when you first met Chuck and Margie, it was hard not to get to know them personally. They were a couple that was just so clearly fond of each other and a devoted team.
All my life as an educator, I've been on the lookout for heroes. And I've also been on the lookout for angels. With Chuck and Margie, I found what I was looking for, a hero and an angel.
Margie once said, we can't change the world, but we can change little pieces of it and hope for a ripple effect. She really knew that we couldn't solve all the problems in the community, but we could do what we could, and with the work that we do, if we do it right, it will have a ripple effect out into the community. And so that's how we look at our work. We wanted to build up the culture of philanthropy that we have that carries on his personality, Margie's personality, their dreams for our community, and their desire that everybody get a chance at a better life.
Joy. Joy. When you see that you've made a difference in a certain area, oh, it just feels so good.
Wow. Good afternoon, and thank you, Dr. Kingsley, for your heartfelt words. My colleagues here today and I have a fond memory of one of the last times we were here. We were joining Chuck and Margie as they were recognized you for their support. Because as you all know, Chuck and Margie loved our students, our teachers, and our schools. They believed in the power of education to change lives, and their goal was to allow children to have the same opportunities they did. Not everyone knows that Margie herself was a teacher. She knew firsthand about the magic that happens inside a classroom. While we're celebrating their legacy today, we are also here to celebrate something else. After Chuck and Margie passed away, our board of directors wanted to think of a way to properly remember them on each of their birthdays. As we do at the Branson Foundation, when we're trying to figure something out, we call Dr. Kingsley to help us brainstorm. What we came up with was an idea that would both honor Chuck and Margie while rewarding the professionals who they admired the most, the teachers. They knew that outside of family, teachers have the greatest influence on a child's life and future success. They can make all the difference in the world and change the trajectory of that child's life. Today, I'm excited to announce that Branson Foundation has established what we are calling the Ripple Effect Teacher Awards. These semi-annual prizes will acknowledge outstanding teachers in Sarasota County who have created a ripple effect in and outside classrooms. Each will be awarded $5,000 into a fund at the district to use towards professional development opportunities, including travel, and materials for their classrooms. With a commitment of $50,000 total each year, 5 teachers will be recognized in May for Chuck's birthday and another 5 in September for Margie's. Each Sarasota County principal will nominate 1 teacher from their school to be considered for the prizes each year moving forward. Now, you may have caught on to something I just said. This month, we are honoring what would have been Chuck's 93rd birthday. While we are happy to announce the creation of this award, we are more excited to announce the winners. Unbeknownst to them, our first 5 Ripple Effect Teacher Award winners are sitting right here in this room. We ask each of their principals to bring them here today to surprise them with the honor and to share their nominations. I now want to ask Chris Renoff and Steve Cantis to come up and help me announce this year's first round of winners.
Good afternoon. What an honor it is to be here to pay tribute to Charles and Marjorie Branson and the undeniable impact that they've had on all of us. Chuck and Margie's passion, generosity, lasting legacy, and ripple effects are not only felt today, but tomorrow and surely well into the future. This afternoon, we have the honor of recognizing the very first recipients of the Charles and Marjorie Branson Ripple Effect Awards. The awardees with us today represent the true essence of excellence that is clearly evident in their classrooms and permeates throughout their school campuses. To start us off, I would like to ask Mr. Troy Thompson, the proud principal of Lamarck Elementary, to come up and introduce his recipient, Miss Mary Pedro.
Good evening, everyone. This is definitely an honor to be the first principal to introduce this award. So this amazing teacher, she is a first grade Ripple. She's an amazing teacher, a mentor for many of our staff and teachers at our school, Lamarck. As the lead Sarasota County induction program mentor, she has been influencing new and experienced educators at our school since our opening in 2006. She provides morning sessions where first-year teachers get quality professional development, mentoring, and those amazing small gifts of appreciation. She even makes them for myself and Dr. Long and makes sure that we get those little nuggets of goodness and care every month. She passes on her experiences and knowledge to not only the mentees, but also the mentors participating in this valuable program. Her attention to detail and willingness to coach has a direct impact on a positive climate at our school. In addition to her development of her colleagues, this Ripple teacher is adored by all of her students who pass through her doors. She showers her students with caring words while also setting high expectations for learning. Her authors' conferences each year allows her students to write and publish their own books, which they share with their families. Teachers, and of course, we're lucky enough to get to join that every year, the administrators. Every year, she has former students, now typically in high school or beyond, return to share their books with the students in her class. It is one of my favorite experiences of the year, seeing how proud her students are of their writing talents and creativity. They leave her classroom believing in themselves and confident in their potential. There are just too many amazing contributions to list. Her ripple effect has influenced the quality of instructional practices across our campus and has enhanced the well-being of our students for over 15 years. Of course, the first Ripple, Mary Pedro. She's amazing.
Thank
Give her
you.
a round of applause.
I'm just so fortunate to work at such a wonderful school and with such a terrific district. I've loved our district for the 25 years I've been here. That's beautiful. Oh my goodness.
Sit and then we're
Okay. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Wow.
Let's keep this positive momentum going. Next, the proud principal of Atwater, the All-Stars in Northport, Miss Cindy Throw, to introduce their ripple effect teacher, Mr. Stephen Lord.
I should have worn the other shirt.
Good afternoon. This is Mr. Stephen Lord. I'm a fifth grade teacher at Atwater. Mr. Stephen Lord is an amazing teacher and a mentor. He continually builds positive relationships with students, staff, and families. In the classroom, he not only focuses on academics, but works to inspire his students to be positive, conscientious contributors to society. Mr. Lord's students engage in meaningful discussions, connecting the content to real-world experiences. These conversations focus on the importance of being critical thinkers and problem solvers, and how this will contribute to their future and the world around them. Outside of his impact in the classroom, Mr. Lord is intentional in serving and connecting with the community. This includes, but not limited to, running the food pantry and facilitating the Angel Tree Project. Bi-weekly, he and his students sort, stock, and package food for the families in need. Many of these same students also access the pantry, teaching them that those in need can still help others. This project continues to have lasting effects as former students continue their volunteer efforts beyond their elementary school. The Angel Tree Project is run by Mr. Lord and his lovely wife, Sue, who's sitting in the audience. They continue to give tirelessly with their time, energy, and community connections in support of families during the holidays. This year alone, they were able to provide meals, presents, gift cards, and hope to over 200 families in our community. Mr. Lord continues to show us that giving back to his community creates a ripple effect of good doing. His positive actions inspire others to do good in the world. Mr. Steve Lord.
And finally, at the elementary level, I'd like to ask Ms. Susan Nations, the proud principal of Wilkinson, to come and introduce Ms. Jessica Gardner, our final elementary Ripple Teacher Award.
One dictionary defines ripple effect as the continuing and spreading results of an event or an action. And there is no doubt that Jessica Gardner has this kind of impact on our school and this district. As an instructional coach, she gives countless hours spent supporting teachers as they integrate lessons across disciplines. People see her as a leader and a go-to for the latest best practice research and instructional models. Recently, one of her colleagues gave her this shout out, and I quote, "I don't know how any of us would survive without your amazing expertise. I am so grateful for how much you have helped me grow as a teacher." Over and over again, students and staff echo this message. Additionally, she impacts students by running the TV news, ensuring that our PBS store is up and running, working with small groups, modeling lessons, and much, much more. She recently worked diligently and with passion to implement a school-wide project-based learning experience called STEAM Station to help deepen student understanding of science, technology, engineering, the arts, and mathematics. Jessica reaches parents as she coordinates family engagement events on campus for hundreds multiple times a year. In past years, this has included deeply connecting with many in our community, the resources and agencies to bring experiential learning to our families. In 2021, these events remain virtual. And finally, her ripple impacts our district as she shares her expertise, offering professional development, mentoring, coaching, and collaborating with others in other schools. An ongoing learner and leader, Jessica Gardner truly personifies ripple, continuing and spreading results of an event or an action.
Hey, good afternoon. I'm Steve Canties. I'm the Executive Director for Secondary Schools here in Sarasota County. And I first want to say that, Chuck and Margie were the true essence of how to turn caring, concern, and empathy into action for change. There are so many examples of their generosity in our community and definitely in our school system, as you have heard. And for years to come, we will see the impact Chuck and Margie have had on our schools when we walk into these teachers' classrooms and we see the plaque on the wall and we see the work that they're doing. So what an amazing opportunity and award. I also want to thank the Chuck and Margie Branson Foundation team for all of their support and their cheerleading along the way. They are great supporters of ours. They listen to our ideas. They give us great ideas. Terry, thank you and your team for everything you do. I appreciate that. So, further ado, I would like to recognize Mr. Ryan Chase. He's our wonderful principal from Brookside Middle School. He's here to introduce an amazing teacher to you who certainly exemplifies the concept of ripple effect. Ryan?
Thank you, Mr. Canties. Good afternoon. Thanks for having me. It's truly a pleasure to be here. The real honor is standing next to Mr. Epps, fantastic teacher at Brookside Middle School. A few months ago, I received an email from a fellow teacher about this nominee, and it stated that they find themselves just poking their head in listening to this teacher, and it has changed their teaching and their life. I knew then that this person is more than just your typical teacher, but a transformational figure on our campus. To think that in this, the busiest of years, excuse me, that others have stopped to listen and watch what they are doing is remarkable. This nominee is beloved by all students on campus, is a calming presence, and a great person. All who interact with this nominee are better for it and sing their praises to us in administration. I cannot say enough how this nominee has started to transform the culture of the staff around them and will continue to in such a positive and student-centered way. This nominee has endured difficult life circumstances as a single parent of 2 high school-age students, but is always positive and willing to do anything for anyone. I am proud to be this person's principal and to know you. We are all better to be around him and will grow as educators and people from his influence. His ripple effect on our campus is immense, and he would not want to be recognized. I'm sure you're uncomfortable even being up here. Which is the beauty of this award. To see in someone what they do not want seen, and to recognize what is not easy to measure. I am proud to recognize you and hope others see what we all see. Congratulations, Mr. Epps.
And finally, our last recognition, teacher recognition, I'm going to ask that Dr. Lori Breslin, our wonderful principal at Sarasota Middle School, if she would come up, and she will introduce our final Ripple Effect winner for the spring. Of course, many more to come in the future. This is an ongoing award. Again, an amazing teacher with a huge positive impact that will have a ripple effect for years to come.
Thank you, Mr. Pinty. Thank you. This is Judy Robson, and I had to hide the reason that we came here today, and so I appreciate you standing here with me. With a bachelor's degree in elementary education in 1969, Judy Robson began her career well before many of our current students' parents were born. Joining Sarasota County Schools in 1981, this changemaker has spent over 4 decades positively influencing the lives of our struggling readers, including English language learner students. Her work as a classroom teacher and English to speakers of other languages liaison has propelled learning gains and reading skills that outpace the growth seen in other locations. Most importantly, the relationships this educator forges with students is impactful, instilling confidence for future success for these learners. Outside the classroom, Mrs. Robinson is a leader for all teachers, serving both on the school leadership team and as a faculty representative on the School Advisory Council. This innovator is influential in all paths that lead to improvement. Somehow, she also leads our Sarasota County Induction Program at SMS, forging the foundation that supports teachers just entering the classroom. If you believe this faculty member could not set the bar any higher, she's done just that. A frequent presenter of professional development, she led the rollout for visible learning and highly effective teaching on campus, collaborating with those in every corner of campus and those located at schools throughout the district. This amazing pedagogue also brought a new reading program to campus, leading the way to support our most at-risk learners. Never tiring, never settling, this educator has indeed caused ripples that have changed the landscape for students and teachers alike. Thank you, Judy.
Jane Goodwin has a comment.
Well, I want to thank the Branson Foundation, Terry Hansen, John Annis, I love you, and all of those folks who have been involved with Branson for these years. This is a great award, and congratulations to those teachers in those schools that were just recognized, because this is amazing work that you are doing, and the vision of Chuck and Margie was always helping teachers to achieve and to excel. So congratulations to all of you, and thank you to the Branson Foundation.
Karen Rose.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Using the words of Dr. Kingsley, couldn't have been more appropriate of recognizing Chuck and Margie as hero and angel. I've had the blessing of being a participant in their charity, and Terry Hansen, and in addition, they worked anonymously for many years. We had to guess at Sarasota Middle School who was giving just not tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands, but millions of dollars to change how we teach, how students learn, and really turn us into innovators. And I thank you for that blessing. And I also want to mention Judy Robson. Having worked with Ms. Robson for 8 years, you don't have the opportunity of working with someone any wiser. Builds relationships, is a model, a mentor, a professional developer, and certainly appreciate everything you've given to this district, our students, our families, and hope to work with you for many more years, Ms. Robson. And Ms. Gardner, I definitely have to share that I had the pleasure of being in your STEAM Learning Center at Wilkinson and talk about innovation and seeing kindergartners. Chuck and Margie would have loved the level of engagement, challenge, kindergartners being able to articulate the content. So thank you to all of these teachers, and special thanks to the Margie and Chuck Branson Foundation, and Terry, thank you for still being with us.
Bridget Ziegler.
Thank you. I don't know where to begin because there's so much good in this. First of all, some of the statements that were made that I think are so powerful are like transformational figure and change maker. And when I think of the work that the Branson Foundation has done, it is absolutely in that realm. And then for it to follow through to the awards and it being a surprise, which I absolutely love, which I'm sorry if you guys had to cringe and not expecting to stand in front of a group, but I applaud the thoughtfulness to that and really taking the time to highlight the amazing work that our teachers do. And as was said, making that impact, education is something you can give to someone and never take that away. And I just think that is such a powerful statement. And I could go on because this made me tear up, and I understand, Dr. Kingsley, why, and I understand the relationship you had and the work that you have done. And we are so blessed by the legacy that they've left behind, and it wasn't about them, it was about our community. And so I love this. I love this symbolism behind it. Congratulations to all the teachers who won today. It's such an honor to be able to hear your story, and keep doing the great stuff. Thank you again.
Mr. Edwards.
Wow. All of the presentations that I've seen since I've had the opportunity of sitting in this chair have been outstanding, and I'm always in awe. We opened our meeting today talking about the work for our strategic plan, and the first line was the most amazing staff and the most amazing people. And yet again, I sit here and I'm once again astounded by the level of talent. But more importantly, I have to say, this is for such a large school district, this is the time where I really feel family. I didn't know Chuck and Marjorie, and I've met most all of you recently, but the love and the emotion that's in the room right now, I really appreciate you sharing that with me, and I'm honored to be here today for the beginning of that award. Thank you.
I remember the ripple effect that went through this community when we heard about the accident with the Bransons, and just how many people that they touched and the programs that they did. And we are just so fortunate that they've put such trust in our school district, and that we can point out to these teachers, and really 5,000 is an award that will make a difference in those classrooms, and that teachers can use it for professional development or for tools in their classrooms. It's a wonderful thing that they've done, and it will have those ripple effects. Looking forward to the ones we're going to be presenting again in September. But before you go away, our superintendent, Mr. Aslan, has something to say also.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to say congratulations to our wonderful teachers. You all are amazing. You've done such a great job this year, especially, wow, with COVID and so forth. But you are truly amazing. And I want to thank the Branson Foundation and Terry Henson. Thank you for being here for the gift for these teachers, because these are teachers who help other teachers, not only their students, but they help other teachers. And so I know when you receive your professional development, or you receive the resources through this gift, you will then come back and be a train the trainer type person who will help other teachers and mentor other teachers in their profession. So thank you very, very much. We're so proud of what you do, and thank you for what you do every single day.
So if we could have everyone come take a picture, and Terry is going to blow out a candle and wish Chuck a happy birthday. So come on up.
I've never done it with a mask on.
Go ahead and right in the middle, if you could, just gather around with your plaques. And you guys give out. Yep.
Hey, John and Jessica and Mary, you want to come on? No. Give it to Terry. Terry, can you go right in the middle? Jessica, Mary, tonight.
Terry's good.
He's just gonna hold it for the next year. Our next presentation is to recognize some of the district student athletes. Would Mr. Slayton please approach the podium?
Well, that's a hard one to follow up. That's amazing, amazing accomplishments. We're going to try to keep it rolling, though, now with some student accomplishments. We've come together to recognize the amazing athletic accomplishments of Northport High's Kyla Buckle, winning the 400-meter dash at the 4A state championship, and the Venice High girls soccer team winning the 6A state championship. I'd like to thank, we can clap for that one, that's good. Pretty big accomplishment, amazing accomplishment. I'd like to thank Superintendent Asplin, our board, Mr. Duggan, our student representative, for realizing the importance of recognizing these great accomplishments by our district athletic teams and students. These fine Northport and Venice athletes exhibit the very characteristics our district desires from all of our student athletes, and that is to be the best citizens, students, and ultimately players they can be. It's my opinion, there's no better place to learn life than on the athletic field, court, and these students you'll see today have a great representation of this district. Just as an example, Kyle is an extreme strong student, attends Pineview, and then also the Venice High soccer team was 7th in the state in GPA, so amazing accomplishments. I want to also thank Northport High School Principal Brandon Johnson, Athletic Director Tony Miller, and Assistant Principal Zoltan Carastelli for all their support and efforts to make Northport High athletics great. At this time, Mr. Miller will come and speak to us.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having us here. This is a bittersweet one for me because before I was the athletic director, I was also a track coach, and I've watched Kyla grow up from like this tall running on the track to as she went and stood next to me. I'm like, ooh, when did you get so tall? So Kyla is a phenomenal athlete. As you heard, she won the 400 meter dash at the state meet. She ran a time of 54.09, breaking our school record. If you know anything about track, that's faster than most of the boys in our area. She was on March 15th, she was named the Sun Prep Athlete of the Week, and then we just found out she will also be the Runner of the Year in the Sun Prep. She's our April and May Northport High School Athlete of the Month, Female Athlete of the Month. She was the Sarasota County Champion in the 200 meter dash and the 4x400 meter relay, District Champion in the 200 meter dash, 400 meter dash, and 4x400 meter relay, Regional Champion in the 400 meter relay. She also placed 6th place at the state meet in the 200 meter dash, which was only a very short amount of time after she had won the 400. She is our first female track and field athlete ever to win a state title. She has a school record in the 200 meter dash, the 400 meter dash. She tied it in the 100 meter dash at 12.09 seconds, only running it once this year. She anchored our 4x400 meter relay, who also has a school record. As Mr. Slayton said, she maintains a 3.6 GPA while attending Pineview High School. And she was awarded a 4-year college plan scholarship for winning the First Lady Casey DeSantis Black History Month essay contest. Ladies and gentlemen, Kyla Buckle.
And I believe Tony failed to say that she's also a junior, so she'll have a chance to even improve on some of these. I was actually watching the SCC indoor meet, and her time would have placed her in the SEC meet. So amazing, amazing. All right, next we're going to recognize Venice High School. I want to thank Venice High Principal Eric Jackson, Athletic Director Pete Dombrowski, and Assistant Principal Lindsay Galliff for all their supports in making Venice High athletics great. And at this time, Mr. Dombrowski, please come speak.
Thank you. It's great to be here again. I think this is like the 13th time in 10 years we've been here. Before I start, I want to tell you a little story. I'm kind of proud. Dr. Aspelin came here. I got the chance to meet him, and he told me he was a baseball coach at one time. And you know, baseball guys it's like a fish story. We start small, and next thing you know, we're in the Hall of Fame. So I said, hey, Doc, I said, you know, you want to come throw BP or something one day? Come on down, we'll let you. And so it happens that Sarasota and Venice were playing at Cool Today Park. And we said, let's get Doc to come down and throw out first pitch. So we got it all set up, and for 2 months, a little bantering, saying, you know, Doc, you're representing the school board. Don't bounce it. Oh, no, I'm going to warm up. Said, this went on for 2 months. Don't bounce it. It's going to look bad. It's going to be, well, we get to Cool Today Park, and it's packed, and his family's there, and he's out like a little kid throwing the ball out there with the team and the kids and getting ready to go, and looks me in the eyes and says, Pete, if I bounce this pitch, you're fired. So like Nolan Ryan, he got on that mound, and I'm still here, and he threw a strike. So we've got to be very proud of him. I told him, I said, listen, Lori White threw a strike, so really don't embarrass us. It is my honor today to introduce Gary Bowler, our girls soccer coach. Gary is what we can call a role model And it's hard to find off-campus coaches who put in the time that he does. Gary puts out, they lay wreaths at the memorial up there on Fruitville Road. They go do reading mentors. He has these student athletes coming together and being a team, and it's paid off. I got my notes. Gary has won, he started in 2010, so he was one of my first hires. So thank you for making me look good. He's won 6 district titles, 3 regionals, 1 state runner-up, and this year, a state championship. They said he was 7th in GPA. Out of those 7 schools, 5 were private schools. So, you know, they add a little bit. So he did a great job. Our girls do a great job. They're a team, and they represent not only Venice High School, the community of Venice, the Sarasota County School Board, but Sarasota County, because that's what it's all about. It's not separate. We're all one. We're Sarasota County, and they've done a great job representing it. So without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce the head coach, Gary Bolyard.
Thank you very much for having us up and recognizing us for our season that we had. This has been a long, hard season. These ladies have sacrificed so much and not competing and not being involved in a lot of activities so they could stay away from that COVID bug. All year we were looking over our shoulders of when we were going to get shut down, and you know, we heard the horror stories of a lot of programs being shut down and have to stop playing. And after becoming state runners-up last year, we had a mission this year, and I think these ladies said nothing's going to stop them, and nothing did. Like they said, one thing I'm proud about these guys, they've been consistently in the top 10 in team GPA, which is I'm the most proud of, and that's why they're called student athletes. So I want to recognize the players that are here today. One thing, we have 7 graduating seniors, 5 of which are playing soccer at the next level, so we're very proud of that. Call it Kirsten Slattery. Kirsten is also the 6A State Player of the Year. That's a very big accomplishment. We have sophomore Brooke Moore. We have Madeline Krause, who's a graduating senior, who is attending Ave Maria University for soccer. We have junior Trinity Johnson. Freshman Tatiana Jara. Another junior, Sarah Fredolino. A sophomore, Catherine Dalton. The last senior that is here tonight, Olivia Fair, who is attending University of Florida. And then our student trainer, Sarah Wildermuth. Thank you very much.
congratulations. I know there's so many girls out there that watched the USA girls team win, and we're following you too. And I understand on June 2nd, Venice will have a parade of champions to showcase their champion athletes this year. Brennan? Dr. Asplin?
Yes, before you walk out, I just wanted to say congratulations to all of you. Just fantastic. I know that you are dedicated and passionate about your sport, but you're also dedicated to your studies. And I know your GPAs are very high, and I'm very, very proud of that. And I know you work hard every day, and you get up early and you work on your schoolwork, and you also practice with your team, and then you have those road trips and you're playing at night. And I'm just so proud of you and the amount of work that you put in. It will very much help you as you go to the next level as well. So congratulations, ladies. That's fantastic. And also congratulations to the coaches and to our principal, Eric Jackson. And oh yeah, by the way, congratulations, Pete, the athletic director too. So don't want to forget you, Pete. But you guys, you've done such a wonderful job, and we're very, very proud of you. So thank you very much. Congratulations.
Our last presentation for today is the Outstanding Business Partner Recognition. I'd like to ask Ms. Sonia Figueroa-Alberts to please approach the podium.
Good afternoon, Madam Chairman, school board members, Dr. Asplin, student representative, Mr. Dugan, and community at large. We celebrate the gifts and talents of those with intellectual and developmental disabilities to inspire the appreciation and inclusion of everyone. As you walked into this business, we are excited and pleased to announce that Rise and Nice here in our community was selected as the business partner of the Sarasota County Schools. This partnership with our students with intellectual and developmental disabilities has built a foundation for inclusion, participation, acceptance, and opportunities for all. In addition, Rise and Nice was nominated and acknowledged by the Florida Education Foundation as the outstanding partner that is crucial to the development of our students in the state of Florida. We are so pleased today that we have Beaver Shriver, Christian Nye, and Chris Cushman, the manager of this wonderful and delicious coffee shop, here to accept this award. Oh, I left the award over there. But I will bring the award because on top of this award, we have a second award also. And I would like Ms. Tammy Castle to present the second award.
So in honor of Patrick Mulvihill, who continually demonstrates the qualities of a person making a difference in the lives of persons with disabilities throughout his career and into retirement, the Florida Division on Career Development and Transition annually recognizes 5 individuals, organizations, businesses, or agencies in Florida who are making a difference in supporting the successful transition of persons with disabilities from school to post-school. It is with great enthusiasm and admiration that we present Rise and Nice Coffee and Creamery Shop with the Patrick Mulvihill Making a Difference Award. Mr. Christian Nye, together with Mr. Beaver Shriver, have collaborated and combined Moho Coffee with Nye's Cream Sandwiches to create Rise and Nice, where the focus and inclusion is acceptance and opportunity for all. The new coffee shop operates totally on the premise of inclusion, jobs, and dignity. The shop hires individuals with intellectual and physical disabilities, giving them a chance to join a workforce with a supportive and inclusive environment. Rise and Nice believes that all individuals can succeed. Students are provided secure, successful jobs that help their employees form meaningful friendships, live independently, improve their public speaking, develop self-advocacy and communication skills, and feel valued and included by society. They celebrate and honor the special abilities of their employees. They provide an opportunity to educate our community while opening eyes, hearts, and minds to what individuals with unique abilities can accomplish. Thank you for making a difference. Congratulations.
Good.
Go
Thank you
ahead.
so much.
Beaver, you want to?
Thank you, everybody. We're really honored to be recognized with these awards. Christian, thank you so much for everything that you do. Chris Cushman, our general manager. But the big thanks goes to our 35 employees with intellectual and developmental disabilities who are doing such an amazing job. They've jumped in, they're working the registers, scooping ice cream, meeting people like you. We had a fun event out here a week or so ago and scooped some ice cream and made some beignets. We should have brought a whole bunch for everybody. I saw the cupcakes and felt bad, but oh well. But thank you again, everybody. We're so happy to be recognized, and thanks again on behalf of our amazing team members. Thank you.
The district would like to thank you, too, for your partnership and what you do for our students and also for our community. And you just can't have enough ice cream shops, in my opinion.
I would also like to have our members of student support service teams. They are the connections for our students. They are here. Some of them are here. Please stand. Liz Lewis, Danielle Moon, Ellie Ingrid, and Kathleen Mattingly. They collect. Thank you. They make sure that our students that are graduating from high school have post-secondary choices. We have the academy at SCC. Thank you, Dr. DePillo, for helping us and embracing that connection. And also our structured work program at Oak Park. We're always trying to connect our students to have abilities to pay internship in our community businesses, but also to be employed and be productive citizens. Thank you all for this today, and thank you.
Thank you.
Our student rep has a comment. Bella?
Hi. So my sister, she's special needs. She has cerebral palsy and is blind. And I've actually had the opportunity, as well as my mom, to visit your shop. And it's just the most joyous experience ever to see all the inclusion. When you ask my sister what she wants to do when she grows up, she's 16 and attends Sarasota High with me. She says she wants to be like a record producer. She loves music, and so we always encourage her to like follow that dream one way or another. And so to see these people working out in the community, it's really amazing, and I just want to thank you.
Where is your store located? On Bay Street. State Street. Oh, downtown, yes. Brennan?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to mention very quickly how appreciative we are to you, Mr. Shriver, especially. I know I mentioned the other day and out in the parking lot there, and the students that you hire in your store. I know they're so appreciative and honored to work for you. And I think it was Cody who I met, and he was making beignets, and he made perfect beignets, by the way. They're excellent. But he's so proud to be working for you and learning the business from you and what he does. He's so appreciative, and we are very appreciative that you're a business partner with us, and the fact that you help our students with those internships and life skills. So thank you very much.
Next, we go to our superintendent's report. Dr. Asplin?
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple of items. First of all, last week was National Police Week, or National Law Enforcement Week, and we were over at the Law Enforcement Academy over at Suncoast Technical Center. Thanks, Ron, for letting us be over there. And there were law enforcement agencies from all over our community, and actually the state. I know there were state troopers there as well. And we hosted that, and Chief Enos did just a fantastic job of hosting that. But it was a service And its service is held each year during National Police Week to honor law enforcement officers who were killed in the line of duty during that year, or the previous year, actually. And it's a way for us all to honor the men and women, and also a canine this year. There were 20 total folks, 19 men and women and 1 canine who passed away in the line of duty this year. And it was just, for me, that was my first one that I've been to, and it was very touching to me. And I just want to say thank you to Chief Enos and our police department for hosting that out there at the academy. And thank you to all of our law enforcement officers and agencies who were there as well. And, also to thank them for the public safety that they provide in our community every single day. We do appreciate them so much, and I know we were honored to be there, so thank you. The next item was just congratulations, another congratulations. The Council for Exceptional Children Administrator of the Year Award went to Deb Jackalone, our Director of Student Services, and she was selected for supporting the work of student services and serving students with disabilities for Sarasota County Schools. And I just received this when I walked up, so I'll be talking to Deb about that and finding out more about that, so we might want to bring her back in at another time and congratulate her. And then finally, I just want to say thank you to everyone in the entire community for attending and participating in the 5 town hall meetings. We did have our Mentimeter, which allowed us to collect comments, concerns, suggestions from everyone in the community. As I said, we had 5 of those from all around the community. But thank you again for all of that information. Also, I appreciate those who did come in person and share your thoughts. I think it gave everyone an opportunity to truly share your thoughts out there at the particular high schools. So I want to thank all of our folks who participated in that as far as organizing and helping with the technical pieces, and also our cabinet for being at each one and answering questions. And I also want to thank our principals who attended, and teachers and any other employees who attended or helped with the suggestions that you had on the Mentimeter. That is really going to help us with our strategic plan. I know we are categorizing those comments as we move forward in our strategic plan that we will have finished up by the end of August. But again, I guess what I really wanted to just say was thank you for the information, and thank you for taking the time to share your thoughts with us. I do want to say just a couple of things to that also. I know there were some items that were brought up that really are on the legal side of things, and I know Patrick and I will sit together and create a couple of pages of information that we will probably put out just so that people understand some of the things that have to do that are statutory. First of all, the whole religion piece and what does that mean and what can we do, what can we not do, and so forth. And then politics and what we do and what we don't do. And so part of that was, I know that some people said, we should have Christianity back in the schools, or we should have religion back in the schools. And what I want everybody to know is, on a daily basis, the students are allowed to pray, the students are allowed to express their religion and whatever they want to do. But as far as employees are concerned, we do not share our opinions on that, and we do not participate in that sense. So it is very important that our teachers, which they are fantastic, wonderful teachers, but it's very important for them to not share their opinions when it comes to politics, for instance, and religion, and their personal opinions. So I wanted everyone to be sure they understood that, but at the same time, we do allow in our schools our students to share and express themselves when it does come to politics and religion. So so it is there. And then also there was concern about the pledge. We do say the pledge every day in all of our schools. And I bring that up because I heard it probably 10 times we don't say the pledge in our schools, and we do. All of our schools, we say the pledge every single day. So there's little things like that I just want to clear up, and I think I'm going to put something together, not to rub anything in anyone's face or anything like that, but just to clear up some of the information that maybe was misinformation or you didn't understand, so that you understand what we can and cannot do as a school system. And that's important too, because as we start to write our strategic plan, you might not see something in the strategic plan and it might have everything to do with a statutory reason. And so we'll put that together and put that out. But again, I do want to thank everybody for all the information that you gave us. And we are very appreciative as a board and as a school district, and all of our employees appreciate our community and our parents and your thoughts. So thank you again for that.
It says here you've got a construction video update, and Michael Drennan.
Mr. Dumas.
Board members, Dr. Asplin, Bella, Mr. Dugan, it's nice to be here again. Wow, how do I follow what's been happening? Some really wonderful things are happening in our district, and today marks my 3rd month here, and so I'm really, really proud and honored to be here. Our focus in the Construction Services Department is to support the students, teachers, and communities, which we're so wonderfully represented here today. I want to thank Katie and Craig for coming out to Englewood and doing this video. It's an exciting opportunity for us to share some of the great things that we're doing. A quick update, we are dried in at the school. We are working on window installation. We'll start interior finishes probably here in the next month. So substantial completion is expected for July. And we tried to add a human interest piece for a way for us as construction folks to tie to the community, the students, the staff, the teachers, and on this particular project, our project manager, Kevin Snyder's mother, was one of the first teachers to teach in the old Building 6 that we're replacing at Englewood. So we thought that was really cool. And we're also always finding ways to feel connected, and we're excited to serve our school community. And I'm not sure how to, do I just hit play?
We started breaking ground about October of last year. From there, it's gone through the standard progression, pouring the concrete for the footings and actually pouring the slab. And then they've gone up with the block work. We have a cavity wall system, which means that we have insulation between the brick and the block. It's a very low maintenance building when we're all said and done.
Here we are at Englewood Building 6, cranes flying the American flag.
When they were craning in the steel, there was a flag that's actually flown over ground zero that they hoisted here on this crane over the school. So that's kind of neat. It was very cool. So this is one of our standard kindergarten classrooms. There'll be 6 that are almost identical to this, and then 2 down on the end as well. The nice thing about this is it will have some high ceilings, as you can see from the window opening, and there will be a couple of soffits also. There'll be a soffit along this wall with some cabinetry, and then there'll also be a soffit over here that will kind of help hide some of the ductwork and the mechanicals that go along with that. All the tool joints, all the block, this is what you will see. This will actually get a block fill material to kind of fill in any of the voids, and then it'll get 2 coats of finished paint. It's durable, it's gonna last forever.
Yeah, and of course, you know, when you're a kid, everyone likes to run their finger through it.
We actually have part of our covered walkway. Eventually that will turn, kind of come right where I am and tie this building in together so that in the event if you got a little shower or something, the students can go to the cafeteria without getting wet. This will actually be the new main chiller for the entire campus. This is what's known as a stealth chiller. So this means that this will be quieter than the old one. We'll be able to have a conversation just like we're having right now with this running, and you'll be able to hear me. And it's just being a good neighbor. Once the roof is completed, it'll just be doing the bulk of what they can on the inside to get the interior finishes done. They'll be finishing up the canopy, and then there'll be concrete poured pretty much around the entire perimeter of the building sidewalks. Same time, we'll also be tying in the new chiller, getting that online and run, getting the new building powered up, and then conditioned space, and we're ready to go.
All right, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. We have quite a few projects going on, as you know from hearing Mr. Dumas at other workshops, and they're doing a fantastic job all over the district.
And I was glad to see that they're being high energy efficient buildings that they're putting together and making sure that there's no leaking in the corners of the airs and everything. I really appreciate that.
So next we have Michael Drennan, who is with the Department of Health, and we just wanted to talk to him for a few minutes. So, Madam Chair, do you want to ask Mr. Drennan any questions?
Well, at our workshop earlier, you gave us an overview of what the CDC has said for adults who are vaccinated, and then what they are saying for schools. And could you elaborate on that for the board meeting now?
Sure. So the most recent guidance that came out from the CDC is kind of two pieces. One, the overarching guidance or recommendations for individuals who are completely vaccinated. So they've had both doses of either the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine, or they've had the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, and it's been 14 days since they've completed one of those series. For those individuals, the recommendations was that they can essentially go about their normal daily habits without wearing a mask, whether that's in the public or other locations. However, the CDC did say that they would recommend to keep in place their current recommendations or guidance for schools. So that would be masking, social distancing, and increased hand washing, primarily because that population as a whole, so students haven't been able to complete the vaccine series. I do know that there are many teachers that have completed that series, but the guidance doesn't differentiate between students and teachers. They've kept their recommendations for schools as a whole, at least to complete through the end of this 2020-21 school year. Obviously, things may change over the summer as we go into next school year, but that's their recommendations as they stand at this time.
And the vaccinations for the students, were you having another one this weekend, or you had one last weekend?
There was a vaccine clinic this previous weekend at our mall location, Pfizer vaccine for students 12 and older. My understanding is that we will have another one at the same location this upcoming Saturday. And we'll be working with the district to get that messaging out so everyone understands when, where, and what they need to bring with them.
All right, so Saturday there's going to be Pfizer vaccines available at the Sarasota Square Mall?
That is correct.
And any student, any parent that wants their student vaccinated must come with the student?
That is correct.
And now it's for students 12 and over, but you're expecting students younger, maybe 5 and over, perhaps by the end of the summer. And
that's definitely what we hope and would expect to see. I know that Pfizer and Moderna are both looking at vaccine effectiveness and safety in children 5 and older. Just have to wait and see, hopefully over the summer, early next fall.
And we're also looking at perhaps having something at some of our South County schools or perhaps the North County schools, so those parents who find it inconvenient to get all the way down to the mall. We will be announcing those as we can, but we definitely want to partner with you. And I know a lot of this will be happening over the summer too. But besides the mask issues, also in regards to quarantine, isn't there some new requirements or backing off on some of the requirements regarding quarantines if you're fully vaccinated?
Yes, so as the guidance stands now, and doesn't look like it will be changing anytime soon, would be that if someone has completed their vaccine series, and once again, that's 2 doses of either Pfizer or Moderna, or 1 dose of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, and it's been 14 days since they've completed that series, that individual, whether or not student or adult, would not have to quarantine unless they were symptomatic. If the individual is symptomatic, we may want to do some testing and get a better idea. It's probably not COVID, but we definitely don't want to make sure it's not some other respiratory disease. But yes, asymptomatic, completed vaccine series, they will not need to quarantine.
And I know it's important that parents keep their students home if either the parent or somebody in the home tests positive, because those students should be quarantined, or if the student tests positive, because I know that, parents for one reason or another, probably they have to go to work or they don't know, will send their kid to school. I know that's happened in my daughter's classroom, even after they've tested positive. I mean, so is there any way we can get that out to parents when they're testing their kids and you're telling them they're positive, that they have to stay home from school?
We are working diligently with the district already, identifying those individuals, and school-age students and teachers and staff are our highest priority to make sure we reach out to them and they're provided with that information about isolating when they are a positive case.
Yeah, thankfully you inform us so that if they're still coming to school, we can put a stop to it. But it's that lag time from when they get the test until we get the notice, and then we tell the parents. But we really appreciate what you're doing, and we want to stay partners with you in this and making sure that our students are all taken care of. Bridget Ziegler, you have a comment or question?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Drennan, a quick question for you, as I, again, ask these regularly, and there's a reason particularly now. Do you have the rate of transmission positivity rate for Sarasota County right now?
I do.
And then can I ask about hospitalizations and deaths as that stands for Sarasota County as we stand right now over the last 14 days?
Yes, so I will tell you that the daily positivity rate for Sarasota for today, so that will be the numbers from cases that were reported yesterday, was 4.18%.
Okay.
And for 14 days, so look at all the cases and all the tests performed over the last 14 days, that rate or that percentage was 3.87. And those have been trending downward really for about the last 21 days. Positive trend both on the number of cases and the percent positivity. So very happy to see that. Another thing that you mentioned that we look at is rate of disease in the population. And that number is a little bit higher than I'd like it to be. It's about 160 cases per 100,000 over a 14-day period, but it is also decreasing quite significantly over the last 21 days. All good signs there. And then I don't have percentages on hospitalizations, but I'll tell you that the number of individuals hospitalized with a diagnosis with COVID has greatly increased, or greatly decreased, I apologize, greatly decreased over the last 21 days as well, as have the number of individuals with a severe disease, so those requiring ICU admission. So all of our numbers are trending in the appropriate direction, which is a really good sign. Lots of factors potentially contributing to this, but definitely vaccines have helped us a lot.
No, I appreciate that, and I love hearing that. And again, for a history lesson, if we think about where we started, what our goals were, where we needed to go, and particularly as it came to policymaking, the mask discussion being such a prevalent one of concern, one of the main goals, and I remember Mr. Henry even mentioning there is, it wasn't so much about the percent of vaccination, it was really what's our percent positivity rate and the transmission rate in our community, also the number of other metrics that you just listed off. And so we're seeing that trend go down. And I recognize you don't make the rules at the CDC, but I'm making this statement for a purpose of perspective and lack of consistency that makes not you, but makes our job very difficult. And I think that's important to point out that those were the statements made, but it's kind of the goalpost has changed. And even if you look at the CDC, as it pertains to schools, they're the unique one, not private businesses, but schools, even if you've been vaccinated, keep your mask on because as you indicated, the 12 and under are not right now eligible for vaccine. However, it doesn't have any barometer as to the transmission rate. So I guess for me, trying to figure out is it, and as I have the conversation with the board, which I know we talked about at the workshop, which I, again, would like to see, particularly as we hear these metrics, that we're moving in a great position, making it optional as more and more people get vaccinated, but making masks optional. But moving to the next year and making it optional, and we reference CDC guidelines, I guess my question is the next thing going to be that that guidance doesn't get lifted absent a certain % of the population being vaccinated?
It's hard to speak specifically what the CDC, what benchmark that they're looking for. When you talk about herd immunity and the goal you're trying to reach for that, it's always been, I've heard numbers around, anything over 75%. I've always heard we want to get close to 85%. I don't know if that's the benchmark that they're looking for, but obviously the more people that get vaccinated and the opportunity to get our children that are less than 12 vaccinated, all those things will I think, lend us more toward a masking optional guidance. I just think the goal here is to get as many people vaccinated as possible, because as we've seen those numbers go up, we've seen the number of cases go down. Both cases and % positivity go down. Definitely a correlation between the two. So definitely the goal would be to get more and more people vaccinated.
And just because you mentioned this today, and again, I'm trying to look and plan ahead for the future as best as I can without the rules being changed on us. When it comes to the % of that, I know at 65 and over, we were seeing a substantial amount of the population take advantage of the vaccines. I understand that it has dropped off. I do understand there was a bump in increase of participation when it was expanded to 12 and over. But do we have any sense of what our % of inoculated citizens or what are for Sarasota County? I don't know if you have that, just to get a sense of how far we are.
So I think it's right at 60% of our population that's 16 and over has received at least one dose of the vaccine. Now, when we look at the population that's 65 and over, it's about 90% of the population. One thing to remember with Sarasota is we're an older community compared to other communities around the state and around the country. So a much higher percentage of our population is over the age of 65 when you look at other geographic areas. So that's important to remember. But our numbers are going up. We've just definitely seen a slowdown over the last couple of weeks.
And you referenced and I'm sorry, I'll wrap it up because it's been a long day, but these are important points. You mentioned the older population is a significant element. Is that because they're at higher risk?
Help me understand the question.
The older population, you mentioned, we had a higher percentage in our community, a higher percentage of the 65 and older, and a majority of them have been vaccinated. That's correct?
That is correct.
And that's an important note because they are the higher risk population. Is that correct?
Yes, that is, when we look at individuals that have either been hospitalized or have a negative outcome due to their diagnosis with the COVID, the 65 and over population definitely made up the majority of them. Not exclusively in that population. Like with any disease or anything that public health concern, it affects everyone in the population. But in this situation, yes, you're correct. That 65 and over are at greater risk for a hospitalization or severe outcome. And yes, that is the population that has the highest percentage of vaccine coverage.
And the risk factors for those who have been vaccinated, because we've had the extended 18 and over for quite some time, so a substantial amount of those who want or could be vaccinated could have been, is in the likelihood of them becoming ill or severely ill or death after the vaccination the efficacy is pretty high to my understanding of the
vaccine is essentially 99% efficient at preventing severe illness or hospitalization, all three of them. And the Pfizer and Moderna are a little bit better at preventing infection altogether. So from the person actually being able to acquire and then transmit the disease. Johnson & Johnson's just a little bit lower. I don't know those numbers right off the top of my head, but they're all about essentially 99% effective at preventing any type of severe disease should the person become infected.
And I'll close with this final question. Under 18 and under, what is the % of severe illness or death that we have gathered over the last year with COVID-19?
I don't have that number. I apologize. I don't have that number in front of me. I'll tell you, it is very low when you look at the rest of the population. but I don't have that number right in front of me. I apologize.
It's less than 1%? You can get back to me. I can look it up, but I
can get back to you. It's probably right around 1%, but I can't, without knowing, I don't want to speculate, but I can get that number for you and let you know.
All right. I appreciate you answering my rapid fire questions. Thank you.
Of course. Very welcome.
I know I was concerned when I heard from two different reliable sources that at a retirement community, supposedly a cleaning staff, a person had come into her condo and was infected with COVID and spread it to a person who had gotten her vaccine in January. And then I think 2 or 3 or 6 other people got it too. But what I'm hearing from you and also from the CDC is that the vaccine doesn't, especially if you come in contact with one who is positive, who did not get a vaccine. But if you've got the vaccine, if you get the disease again, it's usually an asymptomatic case, and it usually won't put you to the hospital, and that you're not shedding the virus so in areas that you would then spread it to someone else. Is that accurate?
That's pretty accurate. You know, someone who's had the vaccine who subsequently becomes infected, more likely to be asymptomatic or very, very mild symptoms. Potential still exists for transmission, although much lower than an unvaccinated person.
Well, I just, hopefully we can get there where more and more people are vaccinated and our children will be safe for next year. But I think we were discussing this morning, and we started to get emails too after the article in the paper today, that if we change the mask policy now, in the first place, the logistics of doing it, to have to do the advertising, and we could do an emergency one, but there would have to be shown that the health and safety of our students would be at risk if we didn't do it. And I think the opposite is true, or could be shown. The timing just really isn't there to make a change in the policy, like to say, well, adults wouldn't have to wear one in the administration office or at board meetings or something like that, to change our policy, that it would just, we were talking earlier, it would just affect so many things in our classrooms and our schools who have made all their plans, and may even be changing parents' decision to bring their children into school. And it would just cause so much confusion. We've got 3 weeks left to school, and following what the CDC says, let it go now, and then move forward, for next year, especially when we can see more and more of the children being vaccinated. Because I was at the point, well, all right, adults don't have to if they've been vaccinated, but I can see, with other board members mentioned this morning, that would just be sending so many confusing messages, and we need to be clearer in our message as we're going forward. Is that what you were explaining this morning, Dr. Asplin?
Yes, Madam Chair. This morning, I was just letting you know that I did spend some time with the principals this morning. Another thing, things are changing so quickly. You see different things in the news, and as we stated earlier, I think nobody wants to wear masks. Nobody wants to wear them. We can't wait to get rid of them. However, the timing is bad. And when I talked to the principals, and they were talking to me about some of the disruption and changes and trying to pivot again, and having plans throughout the next 2 or 3 weeks of school to end the school year, and have worked with stakeholders and their parents to make sure all the plans are in place. I think it just would be a big disruption, and they said that, especially the elementary teachers. In elementary school, as I said before, elementary students, all about routine, and also right now they're in testing. Not that it's all about testing, but they're in testing, and any big change like this would be a district-wide disruption, I think, and the principals would be dealing with a lot of questions, a lot of emails, no matter which way they go as far as changing plans. So they need to spend their time finishing out the school year on a high note and finishing strong. And we need to make sure that the students, everything's staying consistent, and our students are doing what they need to do to finish strong for the school year and not be disrupted in any fashion. So that's the conversation that I had with the principals, and that was their consensus. That's what they were telling me. And so being a past principal, I completely understood what they were talking about. So I'm more concerned really with the educational side of it and disrupting our education for the next 2 to 3 weeks as we finish out the school year.
Thank you. And we all have to remember, this is new, it's unique, and the health department, the CDC, and the school district, we're all learning as this thing progresses. And we'll see some changes over the summer, hopefully, if more children can be vaccinated. And hopefully we won't be needing booster shots on this, but we just have to see how this plays out, because we're learning as we go. Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Thank you, Dr. Brennan, for all you've done for us, and we hope to be working with you to help our children, and I know you'll be getting that information out to the press as much as we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
And you're welcome.
Now, that brings us to the hearing of citizens. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to speak. When the timer flashes yellow, it means 1 minute remains, and you need to begin to summarize. You must stop speaking when the light turns red and the buzzer rings. Please note that respect for divergent viewpoints and civility will be shown at every board meeting, and whether you agree or disagree with the speaker, you should listen politely and respectfully without making any sounds of approval or disapproval, including clapping. Board members are here to listen to you. This is not a time for debate, and the board will not take any formal actions on your comments unless your comments relate to an agenda item. If your comments relate to a non-agenda item, the board may refer the matter to staff for a report prior to the board's next meeting. The school board is committed to civility and decorum and in the conduct of its meetings, and please assist us in maintaining a civil and constructive meeting environment by confining your comments to the issues and refraining from intemperate or rude remarks. The first one I'm going to call is Dave Wetzel.
Hey, you know why I'm here. First, let me say there's only 21 COVID positive patients at Sarasota Memorial. That's right on their website. And only 3 of the ICU patients are COVID positive. And then, so we all talk about the CDC guidelines, but there was absolutely no social distancing this entire time. So we're like picking and choosing what guidelines we follow. So that's kind of weird. We also shared food. So we just let them hand food out. So that's weird, because I don't think that's a guideline we should be encouraging at a board meeting. But I'm okay with it. I'm okay with no guidelines. Bridget, you're awesome. Like, so great.
Please no personal comments.
I heard you giving him the business earlier. Okay. So why are we ignoring the Surgeon General of Florida, who said that long-term mask guideline or long-term mask wearing is posing unintended consequences and harm to the people who are having to wear them, meaning that we are posing harm to the children? I don't know why we're ignoring the Surgeon General of Florida. That's just a weird thing. The CDC changes their minds so much that to follow their guidelines is asinine. Like, to follow their guidelines, we'd be changing every day. They're wishy-washy. Let me see what feels good. Let me see what the public is gonna accept and just go with. 0.0 to 0.03% is the question that was asked, but you didn't have the answer. I looked that up earlier too. I heard someone earlier say they were feeling villainized. Well, when you're an elected official, you're gonna be the villain if you don't take care of what the public wants. I heard someone mention that they were getting mountains of calls and texts and emails about wanting to keep the masks on. To that, I'll say there's like 40,000 students. So if you receive 20,000 emails, okay, that's a good majority. But if maybe 10 or 100 of your friends, that doesn't count as a majority of people wanting to keep masks on. With that being said, I haven't heard anybody come up here and say they want the masks to stay on. They're just emailing in, which is fine. My side that I'm on, we don't want to get rid of the masks. We just want it optional. because everybody should have the choice. Parents should have the choice to send their kids to school with a mask. It shouldn't be mandated anymore, especially since the Florida Education Commissioner has said that it needs to be optional. They actually recommend dropping it, right? So we're picking and choosing who we listen to, and it just doesn't really seem right. It doesn't seem like we're following what we should be following. Once again, Bridget, if you need a campaign manager, let me know.
Winter Rainone.
Good afternoon. My name is Winter Rainone. I am.
Pull the microphone down a bit, please.
Hello. How are you?
There you go.
Okay. Good afternoon. Did it turn green? Oh, my name is Winter Rainone. I am here today to talk about the mask. Right? Okay. My son has been in the school district since 3rd grade. He's in 7th grade now. Okay. Masks are the trend of the year. Don't we know this? If you haven't seen a child properly wear a mask, it's because they cannot do this. There is a proper way to wear a mask and dispose of a mask. Kids cannot do this correctly, okay? They fiddle and play with their mask all day. That means that they spread more germs than they do protecting themselves and others. These abrupt mandates could have been foreseen and they could have been prevented. This is not a, sorry, I'm nervous. This is not a pandemic of COVID, the COVID vaccine. This is a pandemic on our children's minds. My son and every other child that attends public schools have been forced to wear a mask every day. That's 1,800 hours in the school day for the whole year, the 9 months, whatever it is. This, hold on, I can't read very well. This, okay, we will, okay, I'm going to go there. These actions have consequences, you guys. The only way to fight for our kids is in the small community, which where I stand today. If you think my words are too abrupt, you are mistaken. This starts with you and every other community that has the outlet to help her get things done, right? We have complied, we have sacrificed, putting our lives on the hold. The facts are undeniable. We have lost hundreds of thousands of lives to COVID. It's not understated, okay? But we have lost millions of lives to AIDS, heart disease, cancer, car accidents, suicides, and overdoses. And every other side effect that is because you are a living human being. We cannot live in fear of death. Enough of this, okay? D.L. Moody once said, our greatest fear shouldn't be that we won't succeed, but rather that we won't succeed at something that means nothing. The kids' lives matter. Stand up with me and take off these kids' masks.
Thank you. Catherine Kerrigan.
Thanks.
I gotta take my son to football practice after this. Thank you. Green? Where's the light? Okay, we're good. Good afternoon, good evening, board. Dr. Asplin, thank you for hearing me today. My name is Catherine. I'm a mom of 3. I have an incoming kindergartner, a 2nd grader, 4th grader in Sarasota. I am speaking today on behalf of many moms, dads, teachers, staff, children that are unable to be here, but if they would fill this room. I'm here in show of support to the immediate end of the mask mandate. Let's give these children the last few weeks to see smiles and for our kids to be kids. This will finish the school year on a hugely positive note where they can't wait to return. Governor DeSantis has given a clear message that we need to get rid of these mask mandates. Children are extremely low risk. and not super spreaders, if this mask mandate that still stands is really about public health, then I have a lot of questions for you all. Because I would choose to do something very different with my children because of health. This, in my opinion, is not the way to do it. Are we really doing what's best for our children? The medically vulnerable and high risk now have the option to be vaccinated and can still wear masks. But ask yourself this, who's benefiting from keeping the masks on these little children to the big children? If the vulnerable are now protected, why let this continue? Nearly everywhere we go, kids can go unmasked. Many have events, gatherings, sports, etc. Mask requirements are dropping everywhere we look. Our children should not be last. It's time to walk this back. It's becoming more evident that the CDC will not change its guidance with masking children because its intention is to push this rushed experimental technology of the vaccine. They are dangling the carrot of freedom to just like they are to adults. They will say you can only remove the mask until they're vaccinated. Just a caution. Let's watch out for that and protect our health freedoms, please. Get vaccinated or wear a mask until you do. We've heard this before. It's very concerning for a lot of us. I am saying that these masks should be a parent's choice. Masks, especially the vaccines, no long-term studies. I don't want my children to be guinea pigs, but if you make that choice for yours, for your reasoning, it should be respected, absolutely. But children are low risk. They're not super spreaders, as I said. And where there's a risk, there must be a choice. Remember why you masked the children in the first place. It had to do with the small possibility of spreading it at home, to our elderly, to our vulnerable population, to our concerned teachers and staff. Okay? It was more of a staffing issue. In closing, one more thing. To disallow parents the choice to remove masks is unsettling. You're implying that these children are a health and safety risk.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And last, we have Matthew Meisner.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Matthew Meisner. I'm the District 18 Future Business Leaders of America president. I just want to start off by thanking the members that attended our banquet, Mrs. Rose, Ms. Goodwin, Mr. Edwards. It was deeply appreciated. When I was a freshman in high school, I came into high school as a very hard-headed person. I had lack of goals, and I really wasn't the type of kid to, be at the top of his class. I've changed, though, a lot. Through sophomore year and COVID and my complications, I became to be the man that I am today. I go into my junior year as a hardworking, determined young man to achieve his goals and his dreams. When I was a freshman, I got assigned College and Career Readiness with Ms. Karen Hamlin at Riverview High School. In my opinion, a good teacher is like a candle. It consumes itself to light the way for others. This lady has light the way for me and for so many other students in my school, clearly. I was fortunate enough to have a father figure in my life. A lot of kids in high school don't. She taught me how to tie a tie, resume, how to interview, business attire, and to how to deal with real-life complications. She recruited me to the Future Business Leaders of America Club, and in the club, the purpose of FBLA is to bring business and education together in a positive working relationship through innovative leadership and career development programs, strengthen the confidence of students in themselves and their work, and to create more interest and an understanding of business American enterprise. The opportunities that FBLA has presented to me are the ones that I hope every student that walks through the doors of Riverview High School and to all the schools in Sarasota County could experience and take advantage of. As William Arthur Ward once said, opportunities are like sunrises. If you wait too long, you miss them. Kids only know what they know. Teachers have to plant a seed into each student's head and for it to grow and to realize their true potential. Now let me remind everyone that this is a club. There's no minimum GPA, there's no prerequisites, there's nothing like that. We strive for a comfortable environment for many students to meet new people and to further their knowledge in the business world. Thank you.
Excuse me.
It's Miss Karen Hamlin right there.
It's about the clubs,
Oh, well, yeah, I addressed the club as well.
Thank you for coming. And thank you for what you do for our students too. We appreciate it. Additions or corrections to the agenda, Mr. Superintendent?
Yes, Madam Chair, an addendum was added to item number 9, the instructional classified personnel report.
Is there?
I move for approval of the consent agenda as amended.
Second.
Please vote.
I have it.
Did you have a comment on the agenda?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Ms. Ziegler?
Just a quick follow-up, and I'm not pulling it for any reason, but I know that I had spoken with Dr. Asplin and Mr. Duggan, and we could do this as a follow-up. Some of the items, it was item 19, as it was a provision of our extending contact with First Step. And it's not specific to that, but one of the items that I wanted to address or do in a follow-up workshop is as it pertains to, as we expand upon mental health services, which I think is a wonderful thing, making sure we have processes in place, process and systems in place. And I know it's in here, and it's in the contract language, as far as notification for parents. And I just want to make sure from the district staff standpoint, I'm not questioning that we don't. I've just seen things go awry in other districts, and particularly as it pertains to the Parent Bill of Rights, want to make sure we're in compliance as that moves forward. So if Dr. Esplin has any update on that, or if that's something we can bring forward to a future
I do have an update on that. Just right after you and I spoke, I did talk to Deb Jackalone. You know, she's the Director of Student Services, and she assured me that we have in the past and will continue to notify parents anytime that we are asking them to see a counselor or agent from a different agency of any sort. So parents are definitely informed and permission is given.
Okay, thank you.
So we're ready to vote? On the consent agenda? We're waiting for the prompt.
Where's the refresh? At the top left by the browser. It's a circle.
Seeing no prompt, let's take a voice vote. All in favor of the consent agenda as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion passes 5-0. We move on to new business. Is there a motion? Item 36, new business. A new job description for business and financial services. Can someone make a motion?
I move for approval of the new job description for business and financial services specialist.
Second. Do we need Mitzi to explain this?
Yes, so Dr. DePillo is going to explain this. Matter of fact, the next 4 are job descriptions, and there will be a person who explains each one. They're items that, those are job descriptions that weren't ready last week when we had the org charts approval.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to discuss. This position is a position for an accounting type person. Most of our bookkeepers are considered like high school bookkeepers. But at STC, as you know, we're a little bit of a different entity in the district where we're collecting a lot of tuition and fees. We also receive Bright Future scholarships, VA, Pell Grants. So we have a lot of different things happening in terms of money and revenue flowing through our systems. And sometimes it's just not the level of a high school bookkeeper, it's a little bit above that. And what we're looking for in this job description is to get more of an accounting skill set where they can do forecasting, budget analysis, and actually reconciliations and get us prepped for audits that we seem to be a continuous target for from the state. So this position here is kind of like we combined 2 of our high school bookkeeper positions. One was vacant, but actually 2 of them were vacant, and we just took them and combined it to a 12 to get a little bit higher skill set. This position was a district position in description. It was put into our budget, but after looking it over with the financial department, it had too many descriptions and activities that related to district operations, so we just modified it to be a school-based position.
Any questions? And please vote. I'm showing 4 votes.
I voted. I voted. Does that mean aye? Just I voted.
Okay, let's take another voice vote. All in favor of new business item 36, say aye.
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 Opposed? The motion passes 5-0. Item 37.
I move for approval of the new job description for project coordinator.
Second.
Mr. Dumas?
Thank you very much. So this position resides in our construction department, and Jane Dreger, our new director of construction, is here today. This position has been vacant for a while. We have not been able to fill it. As Jane came onto the department and kind of assessed what we had, she said, "Hey, Jody, I think we can use this a little bit different. We can fill some of the gaps we have on projects with our project managers and perhaps provide a career stepping stone within the department." And so I think it's a very good way to use a position we have not been able to fill for some of our clear gaps in construction services. So no budget impact. It is simply a change of job title and job description within the current budget that's been there for a few years in the construction services department.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Please vote. I'm only seeing 4 votes recorded.
Richard Ziegler doesn't show up. He's working on
Let's take another voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
I move for approval of the new job description for CTE lab assistant.
Second.
It's item 38. Mr. DiPillo?
Yes, thank you very much. And this position is for a CT lab, educational lab assistant. And what we've found in expanding our programs at STC is that we have difficulty providing adequate coverage from a classroom to a lab setting as we move from 12 students to 15 students. We get to 18 students and then 20 students. We have a hard time with that teacher being able to provide continuity of instruction. And it's not enough students to add an additional teacher, because then if we were to split a group of 20 into 2 instructional groups, now we only have 10 students to a group. And with attrition, we may end up overstaffed. So what we've decided, and with our approval of our SAC committee, is that we have an interim planning piece where we add a lab assistant who has a certification within the program area, who can work in the lab doing hands-on experiments or hands-on training and skill sets, while the teacher is still doing the didactic work in the classroom. And as we grow that program to a point where we're ready for that second teacher, we now have a candidate for that position to move right into it and potentially hire that SSP 8 lab assistant into as a second instructor when we have the enrollment to do so. But until then, we leave it, and it's a nice way to get to a point where we're in a position to hire that second teacher. If not, we have to turn students away.
I appreciate you coming forward and with bright ideas on ways we can address these issues, and thank you. Any comments, vote, or questions? Please vote. We'll have to take a voice vote again. All in favor? I know it's.
Doesn't want me to.
It's not showing.
Aye.
Aye.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion passes 5-0. New business item 39.
I move for approval of new job description for SCS preschool child care aide.
Second.
Ms. Dawn Clayton?
Good evening. It's good to see all of you tonight. So this child care position is, or the new job description is a result of our amazing partnership that we have to provide services for all of our teen parents and the children. We have a great partnership with Children's First. So one of the things that happens with Children's First, because they are a federally funded program, is that all of the employees have to have a DCF training requirement of 60 hours. So this new job description that is specific to SCS has the state-mandated DCF coursework completion, or the ability to complete that coursework within 90 days of the program, which did not exist on the prior job description. Moving forward, nobody will be displaced from the SCS programs at Riverview or at Northport High School. This will just be something that will allow us as a district to make sure we have the most qualified candidates in the position.
And isn't it a state requirement that they have to have CDAs, which was different than what we had at the Tyke?
Well, yeah, it's different now, yes. So there's quite a few different requirements there. The only difference between this and the last one is the DCF requirement, which is state mandated.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Let's try this vote again.
I already voted. Nope, I already voted.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. And you'll be happy to know we don't have any more votes to take. Our next monthly work session is scheduled for Tuesday, June 1st, and followed by a board meeting that is scheduled for Tuesday, June 1st at 6 p.m. Any, Ms. Ziegler?
Thank you. So in response to, I couldn't let us leave without the mask discussion one more time. The reason is I after asking those series of questions, they were for a reason. I don't want to hold us back. And I appreciate all those who've reached out, both for and against. And I would say to Dr. Asplin, I understand this past year has been so trying on staff, and I am so appreciative to everything that they've done. I also recognize it's been incredibly trying for families, and particularly our students. And I think that everyone's tried to make the most of it. But with that said, as a policymaker, it's been incredibly frustrating, as I mentioned, and it wasn't to Mr. Drennan's fault. But when we follow CDC guidelines that seemingly continuously change, it makes our job impossible. And so what I am trying to learn from the past is that I do not want to continue to kick this down the road only to have the metrics or parameters in which we would make it optional change again on us. And because it's frustrating, and I feel the frustration from the parents. I am personally frustrated. And I know that I brought it up, months before, and I understand, at that time we wanted to focus on prom and graduation, and it was too early to discuss masks. But lo and behold, now when we bring it up and we find there's a way to get rid of it immediately, it's too late. And so it is frustrating, and that's on top of all of the metric aspects of, when we are below 5% for a continued amount of time. We are. Now you talk about it seemingly is looked at, now it's more of a vaccination play. If we have a majority of people who are vaccinated, if we're above 60%, 70%, they really won't say, and now it's being pulled back from herd immunity. It is frustrating, and it makes it's impossible. However you feel about masks, it makes it impossible for us to be effective in our policymaking. And I agree with one of the individuals who came and spoke today. As locally elected officials, we have the power to make those decisions locally based upon facts. We have a whole year of evidence behind us where it's clearly indicated that it's not highly transmissible in schools. We have a large percentage of the population that is the highest risk that's been vaccinated. We've allowed access to 18 and over for over a month and a half, maybe 2 months. For those who want to get vaccinated, access to the vaccinations. I know a substantial amount of our staff has taken advantage of that, and many of our families have, and even to the date of what Mr. Drennan said, since it's been 12 and over, a substantial amount of our families have opted for that as well. So we're going to continue to see that trend go down. So for those who feel safe, or for those who want, can get vaccinated. If they want to wear their mask, they can wear their mask. If they feel comfortable with the vaccination, then that so be it. But I don't believe it's appropriate for us to continue to turn a blind eye to the data, which we're data-driven, and we're a data-driven organization, that showcases, in conjunction with the subject matter experts that we talk to, that the highest risk population is not our students. It's not our students. And so to continue with the mask requirement is, I think we're fooling ourselves, and we're fooling the population that we're going to do something. I am plagued because I really want to make a motion to require a special meeting, but I don't want to do that so we go through the 3-2 again, because I believe, please tell me if I'm wrong, absent a motion, that I have 3 board members that would like to wait until the end of the school year. I just want to get a confirmation that that's where we stand, because I don't know what it's going to take, and I don't mind if I have to at least put on the record where I think we should go. But I don't want to do that. I want to work together as a board. But I cannot sit here any longer and continue to watch it get punted and punted and punted and punted. And so my concession is, if that emergency meeting to require a notice that we would end the mask mandate and make it optional, effective immediately, isn't going to move, then I move that we direct the superintendent and our council to bring back, not discuss it, to bring back a policy for us to advertise, vote on to be advertised, that has masks be optional effective July 1st. I don't want to wait anymore.
Second that motion. I think it's time that we listen to our community and look for a win-win of making things optional. Our staff has had the opportunity to be vaccinated. The numbers indicate that we are no longer in an emergency, and I fully support giving our community options that they are asking for and have been asking for, as well as respect those that still want to wear a mask and allow them to have that option. To not change any of the parameters of events in our schools, and keep the social distancing and the shields so that there is minimal disruption. I feel that it's time to listen to the voice of our community. Thank you.
Mr. Edwards?
I'm confused because I don't think anyone hasn't been listening to the voice of our community. I think that right down to what we talked about earlier today was that we were willing to discuss where there could be some options, but we heard that it was an absolute impossibility to stress our teachers and our principals by adding this additional requirement. So I don't feel like we haven't been listening. I think we have been right up until right now. I thought that's what we discussed in today's conversation. I want to add that I've been asking to try and understand where summer school stands. And I asked Dr. Asplin to put together a survey to the summer school teachers. And quite honestly, that number came back 50-50. Pretty close to 50-50. I think it was 47 around in there. So when you're asking the board to thread a needle, I absolutely want to make all my families happy, all my parents happy. There isn't one that I wouldn't want to make happy, that I want to make unhappy. But I can't, at this moment in time, say that if we change the policy and half of our teachers for summer school walk out, what does that do to the education for summer school that we're trying hard to bounce back with? So all of those indicators says to this board, we have a very delicate balance. And I'm trying hard to make everyone happy in this process and maintain the education for our students first, because that's where I'm looking, and secondly, to protect the health of, and all of those numbers are true. That's why we said we were willing to have that conversation today. I was willing to, I brought it up because we see it happening around us, but we can't react fast enough to satisfy our principals and our teachers for the year-end plan. So I am happy to discuss where we can go from here. If you want to look at a policy to bring to the next meeting, I'm happy to do that. But I can't make that change because it's not an emergency. That's how I saw it.
Ms. Goodwin?
Well, I too agree that, this is an important political hot potato, just like vaccines are a political hot potato, and we have to listen to the whole community and not just part of it. I have been stressed all year long with decisions we have made. First, with coming back to school, and we postponed it till the very last day we possibly could because we were getting pressure from Tallahassee about opening schools, and the numbers were horrible in July. We do have children with multi-symptom situations from COVID. We do have children who have had COVID this year, who have had some serious problems and deaths. We've had 3 deaths in our state of little children with COVID. It is of great concern to me that we look at this and that we do the right thing. And how do we know? We've never been in a pandemic before. How do we know what the right thing is? But I do know that the right thing is that we will continue with this policy until the end of the year. I think we should draft a new policy at our next meeting, and I'm not going to say how that will look because we certainly can modify it at will at that meeting if we so desire. But to do anything before that time, to me, is reckless, and it certainly does not take into consideration the wishes of the superintendent and the majority of this board. And I hope and pray that things do continue as they are now, that they do continue to do well. But we have seen fluctuations before. And I just would say to everyone, get a vaccination. If you are 12 years of age and older and you want to help this, get vaccinated, because I think that will help more than anything else.
You know, I think we are currently following the directives from the Commissioner Corcoran, who asked us to not have the mask policies for next year. He did not require us to stop our policies for this year. That is not what he said. And the governor's directives went to municipalities and other local governments that didn't go to schools. But again, we were talking about new policies after July 1st. Should be optional masks. We are not in violation of any of those. And we are still following the CDC guidelines for schools by having the masks in our schools. You ever said, if I don't want to wear a mask, I shouldn't have to wear a mask? We all know that the masks in and of themselves are not going to protect you, if you're wearing one, from someone else who has the virus. That's the point. Someone says, well, these masks, they're full of germs. You know, they have that. Yeah, they're full of germs. They're full of the persons wearing the mask. They're full of their germs. And if anything, I want them to stay in their mask. And if you have COVID, I want you to wear a mask. I want you to keep those germs to yourself and not spread them to other people. That is what the whole mask policy has been about. That is what has brought this under control in our country. That is what kept our numbers down in our schools. We don't have zero in our schools right now. Even though the numbers are dropping, we still have today 29 students that have tested positive. To date, we have had total student positive since 1,709 students. Maybe none of them got sick and went to the hospital. I don't know. Read the paper today. There was an article about a man who was 42, completely healthy, and it nearly killed him. We don't have to worry just about the elderly. I just don't know why in this situation that people are so upset about it. I mean, look what happened with the polio and all those other people. And you think about other times when the people pulled together to do what's best for the community. To see people here now saying, well, if you don't want to get it, just wear a mask. No, it isn't that. If you have COVID and you are not wearing a mask, you are spreading those germs. You are spreading those germs to people who have a mask that might give them protection to protect them. No guarantee, though. If you have COVID and you're not wearing a mask, and I have a vaccination, there's no guarantee that I'm not going to get COVID. Those 7 people that I heard at that retirement community, one of them was hospitalized. We don't know. We don't know what this is going to bring and what the after effects of this are for our children. Do not ask me. Do not ask me to gamble with our children's health. And when a boy came to school last week who had tested positive into my daughter's classroom, You better believe I was glad he had a mask on. So don't ask me to take away masks for these kids yet, until we get it under control, until we can get our kids vaccinated. Because that boy could have given that virus to my daughter. She couldn't get her shot yet because of a condition she had. Now she has. But it's been a hard week. Don't ask me. Don't ask me to throw this away yet, because some people do not want to look at the facts that the CDC and Health Department is giving us, or they'll pull this fact or that fact, or they have the loudest voice. I have a loud voice too. And I'm going to stand up for all the teachers in this county and all the principals and the parents that are saying, please, we've got 3 weeks left. I would love to throw my mask away too. I've been vaccinated. I would hope everyone on this stage has been vaccinated. But I'm going to wear it to show those students that I support them, that I support our teachers. Because if you have COVID and you're not wearing a mask, you are a danger to everyone around you. And I don't know that we should rush to make a new policy for next year. Things are changing on a daily basis. We don't know yet whether children under the age of 12 can be vaccinated before school starts next year. Let's wait. The CDC is learning about this. There's no rush to this. I am going to ask Mr. Asplin for comments, and then I will let Ms. Ziegler and Ms. Rose close on their motions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Listen, I know that, everyone wants what's best for our kids, and our community does, our parents do, our teachers, our employees. And this board does. This board cares deeply about our students, and they try to make the right decisions. Don't always agree, and I know everybody doesn't agree with them too. But I will tell you that they are always trying to do the right thing for our students. And in this case, we are 3 weeks away from the end of the school year. And in talking with the principals, as I mentioned, it's very important that we keep consistency through the rest of the year. They have put plans in place, and as Bridget said earlier, back in February, March is when you plan for graduations. You choose venues, you sign contracts. There's a lot more to this than just masks. There's a lot of planning that goes into play. Now, if everything just dropped today, what would happen? They'd have to go back and make some changes, because they're going to be in two different situations, each principal. One situation where they make changes, they go to a different venue, they cancel contracts, they try to fill the venue because there's no masks and there's no reason to have only the 25% rule, for instance. Because right now, they have graduations and they are at 25% capacity. Then you have others whose principals who say, gosh, there's no way we can make changes. There's no way. We have committees of teachers who work to put all these plans together, and we only have 2-3 weeks left. In 1 week, we'd have to stop everything we're doing and make all these changes, so we're not going to change. So now they're going to get the emails and the calls and the comments and everything having to do with why didn't you make the change when this other school did make the change? And then you run into that. And if you don't think that's true, listen, I've been a principal. It's true. And you spend a lot of time on things that you shouldn't be spending time on because you're trying to finish strong and educate the students properly during the last 3 weeks. We're in the middle of testing, as I mentioned before. And again, I said, it's not all about testing, but we're in the middle of testing. That's part of it. That's what we do. That's what our students do. We need to finish strong. We need to keep things going the way that they're going with our principals. And if you were to be on the Zoom meeting with me with the principals, they'd explain it much better than I'm explaining it to you right now. What's best for our students? Keep it the same. Keep consistency. We've made plans. It's about the education process now that we're 3 weeks out. We need to keep it going. If we had all these vaccinations in February, maybe it is a different conversation, but we didn't have vaccinations in February. We do now. And just this weekend, we have different information, better information, great information. And I'll tell you what, every single one of those principals would say, yes, get rid of the mask. We are ready for the mask to be gone. Everyone would. And hopefully next year, we will go optional. And the plan is to have normal school again, face-to-face, and then our virtual school. Not concurrent, no remote, and optional masks. And I hope that's the way it goes. And I think we all hope that's the way it goes. That's what we want. That's what we want. But to make a knee-jerk reaction with 3 weeks left when they've made all these plans, you have no idea because you're not at the school.
I'm sorry, I think.
And so those plans are going to upset the apple cart, and we need to stay consistent. And as I even said with elementary schools, one of the biggest things with our students in elementary is routine. Routine going through the last 3 weeks. We've had masks on all year. Going 3 more weeks and finishing strong with the plans that we have, I think that's educationally smart. So that's just my opinion. That's my opinion. And I don't vote, but I feel like I need to give my opinion to our board members, whom I said are trying to do what's best for our students.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Dr. Asplin. And I want to apologize for my emotional outbreak. And I shouldn't have done that. And if it seemed personal to some people, I want to apologize. Ms. Ziegler, did you want to close, or did you want Karen to
close, but I think
speak
there needs
first?
to be clarity because I said I would like to make a motion that says we would schedule a special meeting to amend it immediately. However, I recognize that that would not be something at least 3 board members would agree with. So my motion is to direct the superintendent and the general counsel to draft a policy making face masks optional for the next school year, so July 1st, although maybe July 20th based on advertisement dates, to bring that back, not to be discussed, but to bring it back to be, we're going to discuss it, but bring it back to vote on, to be advertised. So we are moving forward. So I feel like all these comments were about it being effective immediately. I'd love that, but I already knew that that's where we weren't. So my motion, the motion that has been made and seconded, is to direct the superintendent and general counsel to bring draft policy, which would create face masks being optional for all staff and students. There's no provision of vaccination, just face masks optional, and bring that back for us to make a decision on, vote up, down for advertisement. That is the motion, and I will close on my motion.
Wouldn't we workshop it first?
I just want to make us move ahead because, ironically, if you back engineer this, we could be too close to the beginning of school and, we can't change it now. I don't want to have that same conversation. So I am asking that we have direction if you want to put it on a workshop, and then we take action on it. But that has to happen now. That is my motion.
I can put together a policy and bring it back to a workshop. We could discuss it, take a look at it. I know Patrick and I can work on that over the next couple of weeks and have it ready for the next workshop.
I would agree to that, too, if we could do it at the next workshop after school ends. I don't want to.
No, my motion is that we bring it up at our next board meeting, which I'll pull it up. I'm not waiting until, that is not my motion.
June 1.
Well, school's all done.
You want it brought up at the June 1 board meeting?
Yes.
Well, that's a motion that I would oppose because, again, we're getting parents all excited and upset and asking them to come forward, while we still have school in session. Okay. And I'm not sure that we know what kind of a policy we really want. And we don't normally vote at the table. We normally workshop a policy, and I think a policy as important as this, we need to workshop before we bring it to the table.
I'm going to close on my motion for sake of time as well, but again, just to restate, it's to direct the superintendent and the general counsel to draft a policy to present to the board If you want to bring it at a workshop, that's fine. But at the next board meeting, that is a policy, that is a draft that indicates that face masks will be optional. And that is it. And that's what's been seconded, and I would ask that we vote.
Ms. Rose, did you have any comments?
Just affirming my second on that, and I have a, thank you, Madam Chair, by the way, and I have a strong desire to end on a positive note and revisit the future business leaders of America at Riverview High School, amongst other board members.
The comments can come after we vote on this. Are we going to be voting on this? Ms. Ziegler has asked that we vote on it.
Yes.
So could we save comments until after the vote?
Absolutely. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. All those in favor of bringing it back to the June 1st board meeting signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Aye.
Aye.
I believe it passes 3-2.
Thank you, Member.
All right, Ms. Rose.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Madam Chair. Just want to commend Riverview for the club. Very much enjoyed seeing students that I had the honor of being principal for at Sarasota Middle School. Was quite a treat. And recognize Mrs. Hamblin, Karen Hamblin, for what she does for our students and exemplifying the greatness of the teachers in our district. And also thank you, Dr. Asplin, for your positive comments on the intent of each board member to do what we really want in common to be best for our children and our community. Certainly appreciated. Thank you.
Our next workshop is, as I said, June 1st, and the board meeting will be June 1st. We stand adjourned.